Xbox Game Pass has been incredible so far this year, and we now have over 500 titles at our fingertips. For me, I personally love some single player games, and I know this year has seen some insane new additions. Today though, I've actually narrowed down my personal 15 best single player games on Xbox Game Pass, and all of these arrived onto the service or launched this year, and you can play all of them as of right now. With that though, my name is Fletcher, and this is Xbox Nation, and let's dive right into these incredible single player experiences. First up today, I really wanted to just say how bloody impressed I've been by 11-bit studios in 2025, as their release cadence for this year has been nothing short of utterly outstanding. The alters really did change though how I think about games, and the unique aspects that it brought to the table have firmly stood in my mind for so long. This one though sees you taking control of Jan Dolsky as he crash lands into an unknown planet, and it's your job to seek out what happened and basically escape. The unique mechanics here are that you can clone yourself to make what are called alters, and these are basically past or even future versions of yourself depending on differing life choices. It really does bring such a unique structure to a survival game, and I've never played anything truly like it. You will definitely need to play this one right now on Xbox Game Pass if you haven't already, as it really will blow your mind. Whilst I'm gushing about 11-bit studios, I might as well talk about one of their most recent releases onto our Xbox consoles, and I also had the pleasure of reviewing it. Frostpunk 2 landed on the console this year, and if you're a strategy nut just like me, then this is easily one of the best strategy games on Xbox, let alone Xbox Game Pass. This one though thrusts you into a world that's been overtaken by a brutal ice age, and it's your job as the new steward to guide your people through this harsh land and rebuild New London. This game has such deep and really shocking moments within the choices you have to make, and that's easily why so many love Frostpunk. I've never played the first entry, but now I'm really hooked upon playing Frostpunk 2, and it easily sits in my top 10 games of this year. Performance on Xbox though is a little bit spotty, so do be warned, but if you want to check out my review and performance analysis, you can do with the link below. It has certainly been a year of desolate and apocalyptic games, and Atomfall was one that I did fairly enjoy. It might not have set the world on fire in terms of its mechanics, but it was a very unique premise and one that people still call Fallout in the United Kingdom. This one though sees you waking up within the quarantine zone of the Windscale nuclear disaster and has you surviving by any means necessary. Of course, you will engage though in all sorts of things like any survival game out there, so that means crafting, exploring the world, and then meeting some pretty peculiar characters. I will say that the game is nowhere near as polished in every single aspect, and it does certainly have some shortcomings, but this game does have a way of telling a story and providing you with so much lore in the world that is just downright an incredible experience. It just won't be to every gamer's taste, and that's okay. But talking of middling taste, check out this next game on this list. Some may groan at South of Midnight being on this list today, but for me this was actually a pretty lovely AAA game coming out of Compulsion that I really did enjoy. Again, it's not a game with all the glitz and glamour of AAA games out there, as you kind of expect from the Xbox Game Studios. But then again, this game did provide us with such an incredible soundtrack and one of the most unique art styles in a video game to date. This one though has you following Hazel as she tries to find her mother, who was swept away in a natural disaster. It has you becoming what is called a weaver, and you have to mend the world by unraveling deep mysteries, buried guilt, and so much more. It of course does have some light combat and some nice boss design, but I would say that's probably the weakest aspect of the overall experience. For me, I would definitely recommend going into this one if you want a solid platformer with some fantastic music and a pretty lovely little story. If you do want to check out my review though, again, check the link down below. Well, Hollow Knight Silksong was easily one of the largest indies, or should I even say game releases of 2025, and the fact we got this as a day one title into Xbox Game Pass is utterly staggering. Of course, this one was a new adventure, and now pits us as a brand new protagonist called Hornet as we explore the brand new world of Farloom. With it being a new entry though, we have even more abilities, over 500 enemies for us to tackle, and a new gorgeous world still breathing with so much love from Team Cherry. Personally, I did actually quite enjoy Silksong, but at the same time, it's still a quite frustrating experience. Some parts of the game do feel unfair and very time consuming, but it's one that does reward you for trying over and over again until you master it entirely. The world building is quite astonishing, which isn't surprising given how incredible the first game was, but I only suggest this game if you're a Souls-like fan or know how tough it is right out the gates. For something more chilled and relaxed on this list, you definitely need to check out Hurdling. I had the pleasure of reviewing this brand new experience a few weeks back now, and it's an indie that I absolutely adored. This one has you guiding a herd of calicorns across a breathtaking and beautiful world, but the real intrigue is that the entire game's story is told without any dialogue. This is a game that really gets to you through its serenity and the overall atmosphere of the entire world around you. The game is not complex by any means, and can also be completed within a sort of 3 to 5 hour period, but the ending is somewhat of a tearjerk moment that I really truly can't put into words. If you want a cozy and more relaxing game with some breathtaking vistas, you definitely need to try Hurdling on Xbox Game Pass. RoboCop Rogue City is widely regarded by the gaming community as one of the best film to video game adaptations of all time, and that's because it respects the source material so well. Never on my list did I ever expect the game to land onto Xbox Game Pass, and now that it is, it's one that you need to play pretty imminently. This one of course has us donning the metal suit of Alex Murphy and throws us into the crime-ridden underbelly of old Detroit. You have some fantastic FPS action in this one, and I still love picking up a criminal and just tossing them right across the room in some bloody ragdoll action. The world is so detailed as well and really nails that dreary nature of Detroit while still keeping the game incredibly fun. It is a linear experience that can be finished in about 15 to 20 hours, but I do highly recommend it, especially if you love some FPS games. Now, before we do dive into the remaining single player games on this list today, and if you do love some Xbox content, then please hit that subscribe button down below. I'm a totally independent Xbox channel, and I do provide Xbox content every single day, from news, reviews, updates, and so much more. Currently, over 77% of you are not subscribed, and I would really love for you to join our growing Xbox community. Thanks so much for the support so far in 2025, and let's dive back into these incredible and fantastic single player experiences. Few games out there feel as strange and intriguing as Blueprints, and it's why I could potentially see this one being shortlisted for Game of the Year. The entire experience takes place inside a vast mansion, and it constantly shifts and reconfigures itself as you explore and try to find that glorious Room 46. One run might present a library that's stacked to the ceiling with secrets, and the next a staircase that leads somewhere entirely different. It's equal parts a puzzle game and also surreal adventure, but it's all wrapped up in a sort of dreamlike atmosphere that keeps you second guessing everything that you see. The tension isn't from combat like other experiences, but from a more creeping realization that the house itself has its own personality. If you love mystery, exploration, and roguelike unpredictability, you will find this to be one of the most inventive indies available on Game Pass right now. Ubisoft took a really big swing by scaling things back for Assassin's Creed Mirage, and it really paid off pretty beautifully. Baghdad is the real star of the show in this entry, as it's alive, vibrant, and dense with so much detail. Rooftops do stretch pretty endlessly into parkour playgrounds, while the back alleys are perfect for hiding spots for a quick escape. This isn't the bloated RPG style of either Odyssey, Valhalla, or even Shadows. Instead, Mirage really recaptures that tight stealth and assassination loop that made the original game so beloved. Watching a carefully planned kill unfold is still one of the most satisfying feelings in all of gaming, and for longtime fans that are hungry for that old school Assassin's Creed experience, you should definitely jump into this one. I still get a bit put off by the sort of phase shifting abilities you can unlock a bit later on in the game, but it's still a decent Assassin's Creed game that I will certainly recommend. Not every remaster feels absolutely necessary, but then again, this one absolutely does. Oblivion really shaped a generation of RPG fans, and seeing Cyrodiil brought to us into the modern era is just nothing short of magical and really hit me with a massive tsunami of nostalgia. The rolling fields, the glowing Oblivion gates, and the bustling Imperial City, everything looks better while still retaining that game's original charm. What always made Oblivion so special to me though is the sense of freedom that you can get here. You'll lose yourself in tons of guild storylines, stumble into some pretty bizarre side quests, or just ignore the plot entirely and just live in this world. It is certainly messy at time to time and has some jagged areas, especially surrounding its performance, but then again, that's part of the magic of Oblivion. Veterans will really appreciate the glow up of this one, and anyone who skipped it back in 2006 now has the perfect entry point in 2025. If you thought that Doom couldn't get any more intense, then Doom the Dark Ages proved everyone wrong when it arrived earlier this year. Imagine the series' trademark speed and gore transplanted into a medieval hellscape, with the Doomslayer now clad in armor and wielding weapons that look torn from a blacksmith's nightmare. The mix of ranged firepower and brutal melee combat feels utterly savage, like every swing and shot shakes the battlefield. Unlike the sleek sci-fi of Doom Eternal, this one instead embraces the grit and weight and turns battles battles into chaotic medieval war zones. It's not just more Doom, it's a whole new flavour of utter carnage. I know some really didn't appreciate the turn down movement velocity compared to the likes of Doom Eternal, but to me this really nails why I love Doom, and I cannot wait for the brand new DLC. There's such a haunting beauty to Wu Chang Fallen Feathers that really lingers long after you put down the controller. This one is inspired by Chinese folklore, and it blends myth with history to really create a world that feels both grounded but supernatural. Every encounter really pushes you to learn skill patterns, sharpen your reflexes, and respect the weight of every single strike. Yes, this one is a Souls-like, and I know many might turn away right now with that statement. However, the environments here are dripping with so much atmosphere, from decaying villages to fog-choked forests, each one home to some terrifying creatures and some bloody impressive boss design. While it does wear its Souls-like DNA pretty proudly, Wu Chang feels quite fresh because of its cultural roots and striking art direction. This is the game for players who crave challenge in a setting rarely explored in mainstream action RPGs. There's a reason why Ninja Gaiden has such a reputation for being brutally difficult, and Ninja Gaiden 2 Black proves exactly why. This isn't a game that you'll breeze through, it really does demand precision, patience, and lightning fast reflexes. The combat arsenal that Ryu has at its disposal is utterly massive, letting you chain together fluid combos and unleashing some devastating finishes. The enemies in this one do hit hard, and the bosses are downright vicious, but that's also why it makes every single victory feel incredible. The updated Black Edition really smooths out some of the rougher edges while still keeping that intensity intact. If you are the type of player who thrives on high skill ceilings and loves mastering tough as nails action games, then this is one of the finest challenges on Xbox Game Pass, and I really can't wait for Ninja Gaiden 4 to land this October. What I loved about Eternal Strands is that it feels like a fusion of all the best modern action-adventure design trends. So, picture a fantasy world where climbing, grappling, and elemental powers let you interact with the environment in some wild ways, and then pits you against towering and physics-driven monsters. It's part Shadow of the Colossus, part open-world exploration, and also part chaotic elemental sandbox. Fights here aren't just about swinging a sword, instead they're about using fire, ice, and even the terrain itself to gain the upper hand. The sheer creativity in how you can tackle encounters really does make this one truly stand out. I personally enjoyed the story and also the artistic design that they really took with Eternal Strands, and I'm so glad we saw such an awesome first game from a newly talented dev team. Talking of talented developers making their first game though, you all know what game is coming next. Clair Obscur Expedition 33 needs absolutely no introduction, and somehow if this game does not win Game of the Year, I know many, including myself, will be pretty shocked. This turn-based adventure is drenched in some of the best visuals that I've ever seen, with every frame looking like it was brushed into a canvas. Beneath the gorgeous world and its cutscenes though, really lies a combat system that blends strategy with real-time inputs, keeping battles so blimmin' intense and so engaging in a way that I've never actually experienced before. The story is equally captivating though, bringing us such an emotional rollercoaster without ever outstaying its welcome, and honestly, it really did bring a tear to my eye upon the end credits rolling. For me, Clair Obscur is what gaming is all about, and easily sits as one of my favourite top 5 games of all time. I can tell you right now, don't let the turn-based combat put you off, as you certainly won't want to miss this absolute masterpiece. Talking of masterpieces, what game has been your favourite of 2025 so far? You'll have to let me know down below. Do smash that like button if you enjoyed, and also subscribe for more Xbox content like this every single day. Whilst you're here though, and if you want to check out some more Xbox content, why don't you check out the video on screen now? I recently, as I mentioned, had a chance to review Frostpunk 2 on our Xbox Series consoles. I did manage to give an in-depth review about the game alongside a performance analysis to really see if this game is worth your time and money.